Forget the green and yellow of corn and lima beans in your succotash. My Butterbean Succotash is flavorful, soft, and buttery. Hi everyone, welcome to Let's Celebrate TV. I'm your host, Peter Lee. Today, our celebration is all about one of my favorite side dishes. We're making a Butterbean Succotash. So let's get started. So what is succotash? Most of the time, succotash is a simple mixture of corn and lima beans. They're usually steamed or boiled together, maybe served with some butter. In some areas of the country, they take it a little further, and that's what's inspired my recipe, and I'm using butter beans. I have in front of me medium skillet. I'm going to put this on medium heat. Right about there. I'm going to add some olive oil, just a couple tablespoons. And next we're going to add some salt pork. This is salt pork. I have 4 ounces here, or about 120 grams. Now what is salt pork? Salt pork is similar to bacon. It's made from the belly of the pig, but it's just cured with salt and sugar. There's no nitrates or any other type of flavorings. You can find this usually in your grocery store near where they keep the hams. It adds a really nice pork flavor, some salt, kind of that umami flavor. We're going to dump this in, and we're going to stir this about. We're just going to let it cook until it starts to brown and the fat starts to render out these little lardons. All right, we're nice and brown. It's been a few minutes. Next up, I have 1 large onion that I diced right in. Give this a stir. I'm gonna let this cook for a few minutes till the onion starts to soften a bit and get a little translucent. All right, my onions are starting to soften now. Only been a couple minutes, it goes pretty quickly. Next up, we're going to add some corn. Now, I have here some lovely fresh corn. This is 4 ears worth. It's about 14 ounces or 410 grams. All I did to get the corn off the cob was I laid the cob flat. I ran my knife down one side, then I put that flat side down, and I just ran my knife down each side and took all the kernels off the cob. Very simple. Now I saved those corn cobs because I'll use them in soup later. They freeze great. If you can't get fresh corn, you can also use frozen. Right in the pan. Nice stir. Next up, we want to add a little color, a little more sweetness. I have 1 red bell pepper that I just diced up. And next, I've got about 3 cloves of garlic. You want 2 or 3. I just minced them up. Always have garlic. Give this a stir. Then we're going to let this cook for about 5 minutes. We want the vegetables to get a little color on them, to soften a little bit. Smells wonderful. All right, it's been a little over 5 minutes. Starting to get some color on the corn and the peppers. Smelling wonderful. Now you can't make Butterbean Succotash without butter beans. I have 2 cans, 15-ounce cans, 439 grams each of butter beans. Now I'm going to pour them in with their juice. And a lot of people, a lot of recipes will say to drain the juice, and some even say rinse the beans. I don't like doing that. I like adding this juice. It adds a ton of flavor. And the starch from the beans that's in that juice is going to help this come together and be creamy and unctuous. At this point, I'm going to add some black pepper. Now, I have not added any salt because the beans have salt. There was already a lot of salt from that bacon from the salt pork in there. But I want to add a good amount of black pepper. Just like that. All right, I'm going to turn up the heat and bring this up to a boil. And then I'm going to cut the heat down low and we're going to let it simmer until most of this liquid is evaporated and reduced down. It's been about 10 minutes. A lot of liquid has reduced off. This is getting nice and creamy. Now I don't want to reduce it too far. I don't want the butter beans to turn to complete mush, but I want it just a tiny bit thicker than this is now. But right now, we're going to add one more layer of flavor. We're going to add some tarragon. This is tarragon. Kind of looks like I went out in my lawn and pulled some weeds, doesn't it? But it's a wonderful herb. It has a sweet, almost anise-like flavor. It's great with fish and pork, poultry. And we're just going to tear some leaves. Sprinkle them about. Just like that. The smell from this tarragon hitting the hot beans. Ooh, delicious. All right, this is right where I want it. I'm going to cut the heat. And I'm going to stir this in. We're going to give it a few minutes to rest. And then we're going to have a taste. Here we are, our Butterbean Succotash. Easy to cook. It's smelling wonderful. It's very, very hot right now. This bowl is screaming hot. But I'm going to give it a little taste anyway. No one will miss a few beans right from the side here. Maybe some corn. Wow. The butter beans are exactly that. They're soft and buttery. The corn still has a little bit of crispness. It's very, very sweet. You can taste the onions and the peppers and that tarragon that we added right at the end. Brings it all together. And there's a nice little salt level from that salt pork. Not overwhelming, but there's something there, and that's from the salt pork. Delicious. Now, I'm also going to leave a link in the show notes to my hot bacon dressing episode, because we discovered hot bacon dressing on top of this succotash is just beyond amazing. All right, we will see you on Tuesdays for our regular episodes, Fridays for Cocktail Friday or Basic Skills, and every other Sunday for our live streams. Now I'm going to go serve this to my family for dinner, and while I do that, I want you to watch some of these episodes over here. So until next time, everyone, cheers.